The federal government, through the National Institutes of Health, has launched the most ambitious study of adolescent brain development ever attempted. In part, scientists are trying to understand what no one currently does: how all that screen time impacts the physical structure of your kids' brains, as well as their emotional development and mental health. The MRIs found significant differences in the brains of some kids who use smartphones, tablets, and video games more than 7 hours a day.
What we can say is that this is what the brains look like of kids who spend a lot of time on screens.
I feel like we've all been there. We've seen the scrolling, the games, the videos, the texting, all of it. And simply put, a lot of children, and also we should say adults, struggle to even put their devices down.
So, Dr. Ziegler, let's break it down. What is TikTok brain?
So TikTok brain is something that we know has been going on for years, but finally we have the research to support it. And what that means is that the brains, particularly the developing brain of young children and teens, is starting to get quite used to these short form videos, to the point where what the actual brain science behind it is that we see dopamine, which is your feel-good hormone. It is what is involved in addiction. It's what's involved in the reward circuitry of your brain. We see that it gets spiked up. So when they're looking through and they're scrolling through these real quick videos, that's what's happening. They're getting these dopamine hits that feel good, just the way it does when people sometimes use drugs or they use alcohol or they become addicted to other things. And so that's now kind of the frightening data to support what we've wondered all along, which is, yes, in fact, there is an actual neurological reason why looking at those kinds of videos is just so addicting.
Oh, but wait, what could be worse? It's as if we let an adversary implant a neural jack into our youth to raise a generation of civic, military, and business leaders that hate America. How can we be this stupid? If you acknowledge that our kids are the most important thing in our lives, that everything else we do here is meaningful, but our kids' well-being and prosperity is profound. If you acknowledge that they're doing more poorly than previous generations, if you believe there's a chance that the illusion of complexity has done nothing but provide cloud cover for the unbelievable transfer of goodwill, of well-being, and of prosperity from young to old, and if you believe we can actually fix these problems and we have the resources, do we love our children?
People who can't read have all kinds of troubles in life that you might not even think of. Read the menu. You don't know what you're going to get. So they just say, I'll have what that guy's having over there.
The TikTok phenomenon has overwhelmed readership in our culture, and time is running out on reading comprehension.
ADHD diagnoses have tripled. The OECD reports a huge 10-year decline in reading, math, and science among 15-year-olds globally. The reason? Digital distraction.
Today, 21% of American adults are illiterate. 54% have the literacy of 6th grades or below. Even college students are having trouble with comprehension. They find themselves embarrassed to read before a group, skipping words they cannot understand or pronounce.
Encouraging people, especially young people, to sit still long enough to read any book can be a challenge.
What can be done to give people the incentive to use the library and read books?
Introducing animated classics. Our animated classic films will stimulate students to learn more about classic tales and gain the confidence to read more often. Here are 3 classic adventure stories from our library of 30.
Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens, Call of the Wild by Jack London, and Les Miserables by Victor Hugo.
Students eager to know more about classic literature will find these films highly entertaining and digestible. They offer students the incentive to read classic literature, learn about the authors and the era in which they lived, and feel the power that comes with reading an absorbing novel.
Would you like to test their value in your library?
People often need someone to tell them they can do it because their whole life they've been told they can't. I don't care if you read Playboy. as long as you're reading.